Badger and Free Spirit, welcome.
Okay, good. I've got it on mine. Yeah, we're live. Hi, guys. This is going to be so much fun.
It's a good thing we came in early, and we're going to wait for a few more people. But wow, we did not expect you guys to be waiting for us.
That's so cool. You guys are awesome.
Although it says that no one's watching up there, but they're here. That 3.
I see people.
I see people.
I see you.
I see you.
Greetings from Illinois.
Hey, Captain Bart.
Awesome. Okay. First, for the people here, as y'all come in, tell us if you have actually read this book yet. Is anybody this book? This book. That looks weird. This book right here.
Ow!
We have a cat at our feet.
Thanks, Cuzzy.
He's snuggling our feet. It's my weird cat that doesn't like me petting with his hands. So I have to pet him with my feet. And then he bites your toes. He's weird.
Okay, Hillbilly has not read the book.
Not yet. Okay. There are going to be some spoilers in the book, but I don't think we'll spoil the book. Does that make sense?
No, because the book's pretty well spoiled.
We're going to be talking about plot lines of the book, mainly because we want to use them for scenarios to talk to you guys about. Still working my way through Gruffalo. I haven't heard that one. Is it good? I like books, so I look all nerdy now with my new glasses, so it won't sound weird when I say I like books.
The glasses make it okay for you to like books.
Yes! One advantage. Oh, and the whole being able to see thing, too. It's always nice.
I bet you didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming. Okay. But yeah, we're going to be talking about, I guess, major plot points in the book. But I don't think we're trying not to ruin the ending of how everything turns out. But
3 Minions, 6 and under.
That's awesome, though.
I remember when ours were 6 and under. They were nice and cool.
Now we have teenagers. There's one over there, so I'm going to drag him over here. Oh, he's like, I'm leaving.
I'm going to head out.
Before you leave, open the door and let my cuddle bug in.
Yeah, we've got cats and a security system. You can come see one of my cats. You want to see one of my cats? The nice one? The bug? Oh, come here, the bug. This is the bug. She's only nice to her daddy. Ow.
Bye. Oh, it's my cuddle bug.
Don't talk like that. People are they're gonna look down on you.
Hey, just, go on, go play.
Y'all are spoiling us by talking
books at any rate.
Wait until they become 20-something. I know, right? But at least they might be out of the house. I'll pay for them to be out of the house at 20-something.
Hey, Sheepdog. Good to see you.
Oh, hey.
Uncle Al. Hey, how's it going?
How many we got? We got up to 8 now. That's awesome, though. We got 8 people watching. Come on, guys. Come on. Oh, John said he's watching. That's 9.
What? You're going to make it 8 now.
Okay, yeah. So I guess we'll go ahead and at least go over the title and the author and things like that. I'll let you go ahead and introduce which book we read.
Okay, so the book is called 77 Days in September. It's by Ray Gorham. Gorham. It came very highly recommended on one of the Facebook forums. I believe it was SHTF Preparedness or something like that. What else should I say about this book?
Oh, we listened to it on Audible.
Yes.
So we didn't actually, because me working most of the time and us doing chores and things like that. Audible is, We've been using it for years. We're not even sponsored. I hope one day we are, because maybe they'll give us like free books and that'd be awesome. But we've had them probably maybe about a year after we got together, we got Audible. So during their 10 years that we got it, and it does make it a lot more convenient being able to just listen. Like I said, I'm working a machine shop, so I got to wear earplugs anyway. So I just put in my headphones and run machines while listening to a book. And we do love us some prepper fiction. Mainly because I don't know if y'all got y'all's favorites. You know, if y'all do, throw them out there. We've probably read them because we absolutely adore prepper fiction because we like scenarios.
Yes.
We like challenging our brain, challenging our ideas.
Hillbilly loves audiobooks too.
I know, they're so great, right? I mean, I used to love sitting down and reading, but who's got time for it anymore? I mean,
ain't nobody got time for that.
My cat's knocking on the door. John's in the bathroom. Darn it. All right, I'll be right back. 1 second.
Now that I have you all to myself, let's talk of my plans to take over the world.
Enough of that. Go on.
Oh, hi.
Sorry, y'all know Jack. He wanted in. But yeah, as busy as preppers are, we usually are doing the things. And so doing the things means staying pretty darn busy most of the time, especially busy with our hands. So having time to actually sit down and even on a Kindle or anything like that, I don't have the time of day to sit down and actually manually read a book. So I adore audiobooks because I can be doing the things by listening to the things and getting good ideas. Self-prep time. Sheepdog, I agree. Prepper fiction is some of my favorite books. I mean, really, we've got, Lord, I should show like off my Audible. And don't get me wrong, I like other types of books as well. There are I especially love urban fantasy books, monsters, and stuff like that. Our favorite author, go ahead and say it.
Larry Correia.
Favorite author ever. He doesn't do prepper fiction, but he's a Mormon, so I think he's into it. And so
the pictures of the house he's building on Yard Moose Mountain.
Yard Moose Mountain, yeah.
With the huge basement,
the underground
bunker-looking basement. Yeah.
But our favorite book by him, if y'all get a chance to, for just a fun read, Monster Hunter International, is so much fun. I mean, he's such a gun nut, right? I mean, really a gun nut. And you can tell by reading his books that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to his guns.
All right, he was a gun salesman for years, worked in a gun shop. What's my favorite line from the book? On an otherwise normal Tuesday evening, I got to live the American dream. I threw my blankety blank
boss
out a
14-story window. That's the opening line of the book. But anyways, the book that we are reviewing today is not Monster Hunter, unfortunately, because I could talk for hours about that one. But we're reviewing 77 Days in September. We've got 10 people, so we'll go ahead and start going over it. The premise of the book, the overall premises of the book, is you've got your main character, Kyle. And so we can kind of put ourselves in Kyle. Kyle is not a prepper. Kyle is he works on the electrical lines, right? He's overseas. He's working in Texas to help with hurricanes and things like that to get the electrical power up.
Badger says now he has to read.
You have to. You have to. It's a requirement to be, I know, a pit fan, you have to be a Monster Hunter fan. But anyways, Kyle is from Montana.
So, I mean, while not a prepper, he has the skills and the Montana rural philosophy in mind. The
self-reliance and things like that. He has that kind of mindset. And he is working in, like you said, in Texas to help with, I think, was it a hurricane or flooding? It's flooding, right?
I think it was flooding.
That took out most of their power grid. And so he was helping get that up and running. So he's very familiar with the power grid. He is very familiar with how things work. And while in Texas, there is actually an EMP attack. A common scenario you hear in a lot of books was a missile with an EMP device is launched offshore and over
The heartland.
the heartland of America, and which pretty much shuts down the continental U.S., parts of Canada, parts of Mexico, all of it in one blast. And he is actually on a plane when it hits.
I have to give Gorham credit. Let's start with some positives.
Yeah.
Shalom, Tommy.
Hi.
Well written, no spelling errors from what I saw in the hard copy, and
The flow of the story.
the flow of the story was decent.
Yes.
And you never, ever, ever, ever. I'm sorry, not never, ever. In 2 prepper fiction books that I have read, were the main characters actually on the plane when the EMP hit and it crashed. And granted, this one was on takeoff, I believe.
Yeah, it just took off to say they were on a delay. They had been delayed for a couple of hours, I think.
Yeah.
And so they were on the tarmac. They were just taking off. EMP hits, and it pretty much just immediately falls. So it's...
See ya, Uncle Al. Grandnephews and nieces are calling him away from the computer.
Come back when you have a chance. We'll be here for a while. I hope everybody gets to stay for a while. We got 11 people watching now. Hi, people. But yeah, to say Kyle's on the airplane when it goes down. And so he of course naturally assumes it is just a takeoff error. He has apprehension with flying anyways. And so this was just a confirmation of everything that he feared what was going to happen, just happened, plane crashed. So he manages to get off and he helps another gentleman get off the plane as well, who's kind of knocked out.
Yeah.
To get off the plane. And what I really liked is the moral dilemmas. That's probably my favorite parts of books. And this one has quite a few of them. Is working with moral dilemmas, because we talk about that of how are we going to handle this scenario and this scenario. He is trying to get off the plane. He's kind of panicking, that it's on fire, that we need to get off. There's people that are hurt. There's people that have already died.
Now hold off, Ozarks. Let's get through the whole thing before you make that call.
Yeah, just wait for it. We're talking about the good parts of the book. But he's going through a moral dilemma of he's got to get himself into safety. But here's this guy that he was sitting next to who's knocked out. He's clearly still alive, but he's a big guy. And so hey
Brian.
Does he try to risk his own life to get this gentleman off the plane? Needless to say, he does get the gentleman off the plane. And thanks to that, the guy is a local, which really helps our main character have a place to go to. And he has an older car, so he's able to... What?
I'm insulted.
What?
It's a Jeep.
Yes, but it's an older Jeep. It didn't have all the electronics.
But a Jeep is not a car.
Oh, sorry. He had an old... Yeah, Steve is a Jeep lover. A lover of Jeeps. Should get Jeep lover.
They make them.
But that's one thing I really found kind of taking me out right off the bat is the guy's life he managed to save is a local guy who's flying out of Texas, but he's from Texas. And happens to have a working vehicle when everything else is shut down because he's finally slowly catching on to what has happened because, like I said, he works in the electrical field. So Kyle is slowly figuring out what has happened, seeing the cell phones aren't working, seeing the cars aren't working, no electricity. Hi, Bucka. She don't let me pet her if she's by her daddy. So he's catching on to the EMP idea. So he goes with his friend over to their house and kind of gets settled in. So he's trying to figure out, like I said, Kyle not being a prepper, but being aware of what's going on is an interesting premise. Mainly what I wanted to talk to you guys about is traveling. This got me really thinking about, especially Steve's getting ready to go on a play date. Yeah.
I work for AdventureFrontier.com, and we're going to SHOT Show.
Yeah. So
if you're at SHOT Show, come see us there.
he's getting to go to SHOT Show.
We'll also
Tell him
be,
how much we hate him for it.
We'll also be demoing some new backpacks from Sojourn Gear, and I believe Cody's going to be putting them up for sale soon. He's looking at a $200 plus price tag. So just a heads up. Can't wait to get my hands on them.
But it got me thinking as this, when we talk about scenarios in books of being away from your primary location, he flew in for work. So even if he was a prepper, would he necessarily, how much gear would he have had on him for being so far away from home? Do y'all happen to have a way to carry bug out supplies like your Sojourn Gear bag? Are you going to be able to carry that? Ration Parade, we had an 86
Samurai with a 91 VW bug engine swap. Nice.
Very nice.
11-inch lift and 33
Or ways
33s winch and such, but the mechanical
yes,
injectors.
Brian, they're going to Vegas. But he's got tattletales, so.
And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
What happens in Vegas gets told to me by NWA. But yeah, traveling. I don't know how many people have I guess you would call it a flying friendly bug out bag. Because I'm worried because this guy had the problem about flying. He wouldn't have been able to get on his checked luggage.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have had time to probably even grab his overhead compartment. You know, if you had the opportunity, if you weren't on the plane as it was crashing, having a flying friendly bug out bag. A lot of places, depending on where you're traveling to, have very strict gun laws when it comes to actually putting guns on a plane. And I've seen people who have followed every single step of the way of their own state's laws that they can find, going into another state, there's some obscure law that they don't know about, and their gun is confiscated.
I'll tell you one thing that happened to me a few years back when I was flying in and out of DC all the time.
No, Brian, hell yeah, SHOT Show.
I got on at, oh man, I just blanked on which airport it was. It's the one in Baltimore, I believe. And I had a layover in Chicago O'Hare. Mm-hmm. Now, everything in my bag checked out in DC, in Baltimore. I asked one of the attendants for directions in Chicago O'Hare. He told me, go through that door, take a right, go through the other door. I figured out he was wrong as soon as I stepped out of the airport and had to go back through security in order to get to my plane. While going through security in Chicago O'Hare, I'll give him this. The bottle size was bigger, but the contents was the proper fluid amount for flight. They confiscated the hand sanitizer out of my first aid kit that had made it through Baltimore. So you've got to be very careful on what you take, the sizes, the size limits. I think we're allowed to carry sporks now.
I don't know. That's the thing. I think, didn't NWA carry one?
Yes.
When he went on a flight, so sporks were okay.
Yeah, the metal camping spork.
Flying to Boston 2 weeks, you can imagine I can't hardly bring anything there. I know that's what we're kind of going over. That's what got me thinking with this book is Steve's getting ready to fly somewhere pretty far from home. I mean, Vegas to Arkansas. That, I mean, having to do that any kind of trek ways would be.
But to get home to you, I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more.
He's an idiot. Don't mind him. Anyways, we're on a serious topic.
I am.
Flight-friendly bug-out bags, or even get-home bags would be more of a sense. Not bug-out in a sense, but get-home bags. Making sure that you can check them as a carry-on, so you have them with you. What's in the cup, Steve? Coffee, I think. We should totally get a glass of wine. And look what we got. Check it out. Oh, they put it on there. Prepping to Progress stickers. How cool are those? Next get together, we're going to bring them. Da 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 da. You got someone singing along with you.
But seriously, the other thing, a lot of us think about. Hey, Bobo! I was just telling them about the Sojourn Gear backpacks.
Well, he's one that could definitely chime in about flight-friendly bug-out bags. Because like I said, in this book, the guy is needing to get home from Texas or get home to Montana from Texas and not having any gear whatsoever.
Yeah.
So he's not a prepper. So we as preppers.
What are you trying to sing? Well, Bobo, I was trying to sing, I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more.
Save me.
All right. One thing where I was going is this was an emergency call out for him for his work.
Yeah.
So some of us have talked about pre-staging gear at different places, like at an end destination on a trip that you regularly take, renting a storage locker and putting gear there. But there was no way he could have even considered this because it was just an emergency run.
Yeah. But taking something with you possibly, if you're going to do a flight long ways, the Proclaimers, cool song. I know, right? It's a good song when they sing it, not...
You guys now see what I live with, unedited.
He's so lucky, right? But think about it. What is in a bug out bag if you're looking at a basic bug out or get home bag? Let's say throw out bug out bag. Get home bag. Because we're not looking at bugging out, we're looking at trying to get home. Your basics, you're a map. They're probably not going to let you bring a knife, so that's really going to hinder. Clothes, a little bit of food, water purification tablets, definitely a must. Some kind of water filtration system. Sojourn Gear is awesome. I know, right, Bobo? I can't wait to steal his. But let's think about it. Let's say if we're getting ready to go on a flight. Yes, he is like, see, thank you, Tommy. Isn't he? He's got a prepper wife, so he's super lucky.
This is true.
So your a filter with the bag, definitely.
There you
go. So you would have to definitely pare it down for going on a flight, especially if you wanted to do carry-on.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to have a lot of the liquid stuff, and you had problems with your first aid kit, so you'd probably have to at least make sure you have some sort of trauma kit at the very least. But I don't know how they would feel about trauma shears.
At the time when I was flying all the time, they did not have a problem with trauma shears because they weren't pointy.
Spork. We mentioned the spork bobble. But I don't know what the regulations would be nowadays. I would have to check into
Babo says no shears anymore.
Yeah, so that's what I'm worried. Any kind of blade of any kind, I don't think they would let on. So it would definitely even have to change up your trauma kits if you're wanting to do a carry-on with them.
Yeah, and the other thing, I mean, for me,
or motivate either of you to prepare or train. More in the sense of what not to do, but definitely so we can start tweaking some things. The biggest thing with this book was, I guess, in an overall sense, is what you should not do.
Let's move on from the very first intro where the plane crashes.
So that did inspire us to do a friendly.
We're looking at really trimming down my gear for the trip to Vegas. And I will say this, I have always packed in such a way that all of my gear was carry-on because I refuse to have stuff under the plane. If it were to crash or anything else, I have everything I need in the overhead.
At least you
and
can
I'm
make
gone.
it with what you have. Yeah.
But let's move on. You know, the plane crashes. The guy takes him in, helps him get set up to go on his long hike. And from this point on, it really becomes, how shall I put this nicely?
I often rely on the kindness of strangers.
Yeah.
Okay, the gentleman from Texas that he saves in the book, it helps him get a makeshift sled or cart.
It was a cart.
It was a cart that he kind of be able to pull behind him to carry gear.
You always learn something, even when it's something not to do.
Absolutely. And that's what we really more gathered from this book. Now, the idea of doing for such a long haul, having a cart with being able to haul more gear.
You know, pulling it behind you like an old school travois.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It was a good idea. And like I said, and they just makeshift one out of like old ladders and things like that.
Yeah.
They literally just had to make one on the fly, which was a good idea that you can scavenge materials that you may be able to come across. Personally, I would have, for that long of a trek, I would have seen if I would have been able to scavenge a bicycle, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, even a few years ago, I managed to take a garden cart and tie it to my dog and then lead my dog around so I didn't have to.
Badger, definitely. If you do have to travel and restocking once you get there, definitely. That is a really good idea. Of actually, when you land somewhere, go ahead and get a few items that you might need just in case. Even if it's just a throwaway blade that you can literally get rid of before you're on your flight back. That is a great idea. I didn't even think about that. That's a wonderful idea. Being able to resupply there with just a few basic things that you don't mind getting rid of later, or even just shipping to yourself. If you really like it, if you find a really cool gear while you're there, ship it home before you get on your plane. What do y'all think of that idea? Yeah, definitely. If you can put it in your check bag, especially like I said on your flight home.
So I'll put everything in Babo's check bag because, you know, I don't check a bag unless I take one just for souvenirs.
Yeah, getting blades when you land, definitely. And like I said, if you can't put them on the flight back, my sister does that when she comes and visits here. She'll get a few items. She's all the way from Florida, so when she comes visits here in Arkansas, if she's got too much stuff, she'll just ship it back home and then just take a regular flight. It's cheaper than trying to carry on excess things onto a plane, which charges you a lot more than just having it shipped to your house later.
Hey, Brian, we will keep you in our prayers, and I'm hoping that everything goes well and you're good to go after the surgery. You know, you guys just actually inspired me. I've got a friend in Prescott, Arizona who runs a store. So what I'm going to do is I'll send him a check and a list of, you know, the knife I want him to deliver and whatnot. Because Ryan Jeske at the Prescott Caliber Club is going to be at SHOT Show. So I'll tell him, bring me this stuff. It's prepaid for.
There you go. You have somebody resupplying you there, huh?
Yeah.
But that's, like I said, that's a great idea. But like I said, in the book, he makes a makeshift cart and starts trekking across Texas. Now, luckily in the book, lucky for our main character, it's towards the end of fall. So it's not too bad Texas heat, but we all know how that can kind of be iffy. One thing, like I said, the do's and don'ts is he is sticking to main highways and roads because that's what he knows to get home. And he's going through major cities, at least pretty heavily dense cities. And like I said, how long it's taking him to trek through it, things are getting progressively worse in the towns.
Boker knives.
Oh, yeah. And so one of my biggest complaints is right at the beginning is he's not even out of Texas. I think he said he was in Laredo. It doesn't matter. He's in a town in Texas, and he's got to pay a toll to some gangbanger guys, which pretty much is them wanting to pilfer through his stuff. And so the biggest thing that jumped out at me is if you're going to be trekking, if you're going to have to make a very long journey, first of all, if you're having to use roads, okay, I understand it because most people don't know how to cross country. Try to find some maps, but try to avoid major population centers. That's where I think my biggest don't was in the book, is he goes almost every time he goes through these major populated areas. And guess what? He gets his butt kicked for it because he tries kind of fighting back against these gangbanger guys that are trying to take his stuff. And guess what? It's 3 gangbangers, and guess what happens to this guy? He gets the crap beat out of him.
Wait a minute. Let's go a little bit deeper. Situational awareness.
Yeah.
He sees these 3 guys, on the opposite side of the street, pacing him, then cutting across behind him, and then coming up, and he takes no action.
Yeah.
He takes no, oh, hey, I've got a piece of wood that I can use as a bat.
Yeah.
He takes, he tries to talk it out with them. And every single time, look, I'm not saying pull the trigger immediately. I'm not saying jump straight to fisticuffs. But I am saying eyes open, head on a swivel.
Yeah. That's probably my biggest complaint about the main character 90% of the time is he's very hesitant on making a decision. And it cost him a lot of times in his gear and his blood. It's because he gets his, like I said, his butt whooped. And he often has to rely on somebody else coming in and saving him. And that is not going to be the case all the time. Like I said, when he's getting his crap kicked out of him by these 3 guys, lo and behold, here comes a preacher Marine out of nowhere to save him and take him to his home and patch him up and bring all of his stuff. And
me too, Brian. Overland vehicles.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now we're getting into some of the issues I have with the book, because this is a pattern that is repeated.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into every single interaction.
The guy should have been dead so many times in the book.
He finally managed to get a pistol and a rifle.
Yeah.
And he's sick. He's curled up in a car. We're not even going to get into the cars for a minute.
That's his main source of shelter, is walking along the roads, jumping into unlocked cars.
Yeah, or breaking a window and then sleeping in it with the snow and rain coming in.
He's not the smartest, sharpest crayon, or what is it? The brightest crayon in the box, or the sharpest tool in the shed.
He's a few fries short of a Happy Meal at times. And then, he will, anyway, this guy steals his cart, and he finally catches up with him, confronts him. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, sure. Guy puts down his gun. But then the guy he lets the guy turn his back on him. Guy's kind of doing this number. And the next thing you know, the guy turns around and starts shooting at him. And he doesn't want
to kill him. He doesn't want to take another life. And I get that. Moral dilemmas. We talked about that.
This book seems like a warning, much like 1984.
Yes.
Very much so.
And I would love to talk with the author and ask if that was
if the point of this book was to go, this is what's not to do, don't be stupid, then he scored. He nailed it. And I'm all for what not to do.
Pennsylvania, why can't I post? You just posted. Hello, I'm seeing you. Pennsylvania Prepper.
Why can't I post?
You're posting.
I don't know. Why can't you? Because I'm reading.
Hey, Ozarks prepared it today.
Hey, Ozarks.
Yes. That is the main premise of the book. Ozark is being stuck far from home with minimal gear, and that's probably what gets me more than anything, is he doesn't take the opportunity to really try to find anything else. I mean, it's very narrow focused of, I've got to walk this many miles a day and I've got to do this. Did I miss something? Alaska Dream Life's here.
Hey.
I just saw them. Hey guys.
Hey guys, welcome.
I must have missed them.
Fishing, no reception.
Did you catch
anything?
Fishing stories have to be limited.
Pennsylvania, I don't know why a long post might not have gone through. You might have to break it up. We are using Yardstream or StreamYard instead of, the YouTube live.
Yeah, the stream, live stream. What is it called?
StreamYard.
There we go. Seems to work a lot better than the YouTube ones.
And there is supposed to be a way for us.
Not much reception here. There's probably not much reception in Alaska, period, right? I'm just saying. Broke it up. It posted. Okay. Awesome. Okay. My phone died and the interstate was closed. I had to find another way home and didn't know.
I now have a Garmin and a couple of maps and atlas in the truck. Absolutely.
Good. Hard maps. That should be in everybody's vehicle. I am a big proponent of making sure you have
Pennsylvania prep.
I know, but
I'm going to say something. If you are going to be just in your state traveling, they make those.
Take them Ozark. Take them out in the woods. Absolutely. Minimal gear.
I'm good. Let's do this. Rock and roll, man. No, but seriously, back to my other thought before I was distracted. I think it's Rand McNally makes your state atlas, and it has a lot of the county roads and whatnot. I keep one in all of our vehicles.
Yeah. Sorry, the bug's wanting love.
It's my bug. My bug, and she's actually being nice to you.
Which is unusual.
So, there's that. But, like I said, this guy's got to go from Texas to Montana.
My real name's Kim. It's okay, Brian. I'm using mine. Yes, I got the street atlas. Good. Like I said, this guy says he's got maps, but he's not really looking for too many alternative routes, trying to avoid cities and things like that, which really it really did irk me because he does tend to go through major city centers. But I kind of compared it to the Fellowship of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings series, and we're walking and we're walking. Oh look, and we're walking.
And I'm going to get on to the preppers in the book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Before we do that, the book doesn't just solely focus on Kyle, our main protagonist. It also splits back and forth between his wife at home and Montana. And I probably screamed more at her than I did at him because he's actually trying to do things. He is trying to get home, and God bless him for it. He's maybe an idiot, but he's trying. He's doing the things. He's doing the hard things. But the wife at home made me just cringe terribly. And any females out there reading this book I hope they take it as I'm trying to think of the right words for it, I don't want to keep saying do not do, warning signs.
Cautionary tale.
Cautionary tale. That's the word. Okay. Wife back at home. Everything's kind of gone to pot. And she's trying to figure out how to feed her kids. They have 3 children, a teenager, I think 7 or 8-year-old, and then a 4-year-old. So she has very young children. The 14-year-old is actually able to go out and help a farmer in order to get extra food and helping, which I thought that was a great idea. Definitely, if you've got kids that are able to do help and then in exchange of getting more food into the household, awesome. She joins up with, I guess they kind of elect a city council type thing to help run emergencies. She ends up just taking notes for them for their meetings.
Becoming the secretary.
Saying the secretary, but it doesn't do anything for her. It takes time away from her kids and away from everything she's supposed to be doing to help out with no real benefit to her. And I think I more cringed at that to say, because yes, information wise, she was getting more information, but they didn't know what to do any more than she did. So helping organize different things, she was able to be a part of and just take notes. But there was no real benefit for being away for hours at a time, away from your kids and away from trying to find food and survival, with no real benefit other than, I guess, to move the story along to see what was going on in the town. Not loading and pausing. Bear has a lot of problems with buffering. You guys are coming through loud and clear. Love the. Thanks to Yardstream. Bear should use Yardstream because this is really working really well.
Well, that and we turned off every other
Everything
thing plugged into the Wi-Fi.
The kids' phones are off. Our phones are off. All the Rokus, everything's, all the computers are off, so we can get a nice, good, clear signal for you guys. But yeah, if it's a topographical is also important. Yes, topo maps. If you can get a hold of topo maps, that's even better. I know it's a lot harder to get a hold of. I know some, our atlas has some topographical stuff, just rough ideas of where some really steep hilly areas are. But if you're going to be having on your actual bug out route, getting topo maps for those, definitely. Steve.
Have you checked out the Delorme series of atlases broken down by individual states? That may be what I was talking about. It may not be Rand McNally.
We have a really thick atlas that we use.
Because yes, I have a about 128 page with topographical outlines. Yeah, your autistic cat wants out.
We're not making fun of him. He really is just that. Yeah, he doesn't like to be touched. He doesn't like to be talked to and nothing. Make the boy do it.
Are you really going to yell at the YouTubans across the house?
Male spawn!
Yeah.
Come to the birth giver.
1 second.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tommy,
I
talk so lovingly to my children.
Yeah, Tommy, that may be what I was talking about. It may be Delorme instead of Rand McNally.
Yeah. But anyways, the wife back at home, she's making do. But just like her husband, she relies on the kindness of others to get her through. Her neighbor happens to be an avid gardener and
takes her under his wing.
Yeah. So
now granted, she does do things for them. She does integrate into the community. She becomes friends with the vet. She invests in other people.
Absolutely. But it's she doesn't really do anything to help herself. She's not trying to prep her own garden. She's not trying to get, and I get winters coming along, but she's always expecting this to be over very quickly. And so there's no real preparedness. Can you let Cuz outside? He's wanting, yeah. Meow. Male spawn, come to the birth giver. I'm going to text that to my son. You like that? I have a girl spawn too. This is not the sperm donor though.
You had to share that with them, didn't you?
I am the birth giver. This is not the sperm donor.
It's all right. You know, our daughter and I really get going at each other with that stuff. You know, I mean, when it comes to her, you know,
not Emily.
To the female protagonist.
Love it.
I don't have a lot of cringe moments with her.
I do. Just as a female prepper, like every alarm bell that she does drives me out the wall. Mainly because we talk about his situational awareness. Go ahead. I'm waiting for you to finish.
Oh, no, you are. No, the big thing that I had with her particularly was just the sleeping arrangements in the house.
Yeah.
That drove me nuts. You know, we'll get into the break-ins if you want, but the two boys, the older two kids, are sleeping in the basement.
No. It's the teenager and the 4-year-old.
The 4-year-old? It was the 4-year-old?
Yeah, the teenager and the 4-year-old.
Are sleeping in the basement of the house. That's where their rooms are. As winter is coming. Dun, dun, dun. Does anyone here besides me remember the whole thing about warm air rising?
Greetings from Texas. Greetings from Arkansas.
Descending and, you know, how it's warmer higher up in the house and you don't sleep in the basement during winter? Or was that just me? I mean, I grew up in Nebraska. We stayed out of the basement as much as possible.
US Army topographical maps usually can get at Army Navy surplus. Yeah, the only problem is a lot of our Army Navy surpluses around here are going out of business. So finding resources is becoming harder. What are you drinking? I didn't even know what you were drinking. Hey, give me my drink. Mailspawn, come on.
I would never make iced macchiato coffee for myself.
We should have had you pour coffee, or at least get the whiskey. Bear drinks whiskey on his live streams. Totally, like, at least break out the wine or something. The female Jennifer, I do believe is her name. Karen. She's a Karen. She's a Becky. She is a Becky. Oh my gosh, I can't believe what's happening. Not any offense to any Rebeccas that are out there, but she is.
All right, Tommy.
Okay.
I want you to tell whoever you ordered the 6 plastic jugs of powdered butter from that we deserve a sponsorship.
Ice Wise Aflac.
Aflac.
Shalom, our geek. You see who jumped in here?
Hey, it's a geek. Good to see you.
I'm also a female prepper. I'm trying to talk to my female friends about this stuff. I get further talking to. I know, right?
Or teenage boys.
I know, right? Blackout. If you haven't seen, I think I have seen it. Like, I've seen American Blackout. Is that the one you're talking about, Brian? Iced whiskey after. I'm about to go break out my whiskey.
No,
I got Basil Hayden's in there, and
I say some iced whiskey.
Nobody can understand you when you do
It's
that.
not as potent as they say.
That's weird. I can understand him.
I can't. I don't know how you can. But no.
I lived with him.
Radically prepared. I know, right? Don't mind him. But yes, as a female prepper, it is very hard because a lot of times I don't know what the psychology is for a lot of women. We like to block out things that are kind of uncomfortable. It's like a lot of women don't conceal carry. They don't carry any, they get in kind of training. And to me, having a handgun is a great equalizer. And a lot of women don't do it because guns are scary and I don't know what to do. And it can be really frustrating talking to women, but you have to wait till you can really find a good opportunity. Like I talked to my sister and I at least some of my stuff and told her she needed to get and just kind of show them that it's okay to get prepared. And sometimes you can start out something kind of small. Like my sister is in the military, and so she has a different mindset than a lot of women. And for goodness sakes, all I'd have to mention is go, look, you're in Florida. Where are y'all going if y'all have a hurricane? That's all I want to know. She goes, well, most of the time we stay here. And I'm like, okay, but what if it's a really bad hurricane? You know, and she literally stayed for the last Cat 5, and luckily it like slowed down right before it got to her house and reduced to a Cat 1 by the time it got to her house. And I was just like, you're crazy people. But they do have they wouldn't call it a bug out location, but they have her in-laws that live in Tennessee. And I was like, well, she goes, well, we can go to Tennessee if it's really bad. I was like, oh, awesome. That's a jumping off point. Well, do you have stuff already stored there? Do you have extra clothes for the kids? And just kind of taking it little by little. I'm
never out of anything. Yep.
Yeah, I go to my personal store. I do that too. And I talk to people and I'm like, oh, it's in the pantry. They're like, well, we need this for the recipe. Oh, it's down in the pantry. Yeah, go ahead and get it. We call ours the store too with our kids. You got to go to the store and I go downstairs. But my biggest problem in the book, back to that, is I'm trying, as much as I gripe about his situational awareness, and which I did because but he's kind of under his.
Please don't point that at me while you're.
Kyle, the main protagonist, as much as I gripe about his situational awareness, he's on the road. He's in a very strenuous situation. It's very new. He's in different environments every single day and every minute he is in a new location. Probably he's never even been to that state. He's never been to that location. So it's very hard on him. So I can kind of give him a little bit more leeway. He's not a prepper. He's not kind of that kind of militant minded at all. Her, on the other hand, she's in her home and she doesn't want to leave her home because this is their home and they're waiting on Kyle. And we're not going to leave because we're waiting on Kyle. And she wants to keep things as normal as possible in a very abnormal situation. And it is, to me, it's a form of denial of trying to keep things as normal as possible because you don't want to scare the kids. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that.
The kids are going to bed when the sun goes down because we don't have lights. Do you think the kids have a clue?
That something's different. And so changing up sleeping habits of where you're, even the body heat, being able to confine everything into one room, putting up blankets to cover up doorways to try to keep body heat into one room, to try to heat. This is a 2-story house. You know, I have a split level. I know how much energy it takes to heat this home. And so for her trying to do it in Montana with winter on the way, and she's trying to keep this normal. She's got a gas fireplace trying to heat the entire house and sitting there worried, well, we're probably going to run out of propane here soon. You think you're trying to heat an entire home with limited resources. And so I'm yelling at her, but my biggest gripe with her was security. They have been talking in the town over and over again about how other towns have been hit and people are having break-ins and people are having things stolen from their house. She does nothing about this. She's in on the meetings. She can hear people talking about this. She does nothing to secure her home. All the way up to the point where there is a break-in. Now, the premise of the book is she's got kind of a stalker. She's got this sheriff who is creepy personified. And she brushes it off. He is way too forward. He is way too aggressively coming after her because in their head, Cobb's dead. He was on an airplane. All the airplanes crashed. He's dead somewhere. You need to get over it. And, and so he's trying to kind of hone in on this one.
Yeah, Ozarks, we heard it, and it's not gonna last, I guarantee you. Mostly because they think that California thinks it has the infrastructure that it doesn't need civilian ham radio operators reporting and relaying information. This is California. It will break down within 30 minutes. The ham radio operators will be back on the air. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, that it brought me another point of listening to Stalker Guy with the female preppers is they really lacked somebody to do. I want to say human resources, but that's not quite what. So if you've got a group, essentially if you got a mag, you've got a tribe, whatever it is, if you've got a community, designating somebody that everybody trusts, say it's a counselor or a psychiatrist or somebody who actually does work in HR, who knows how to communicate properly with people. If somebody has a problem, John says, hey, brother.
Hey, John, good to see you.
Somebody makes me think something is up. Probably there's always something up with them. Somebody that people can go to if there is an interpersonal issue. Like I said, Sheriff Guy is turning into quite a bad stalker with this. I mean, full-blown, rapey vibes going on throughout this book. But even after that, she does nothing to secure her home. She has a break-in. What really ticked me off about this one is she goes for a gun that she's shot a couple of times. Kyle showed me how. So she goes for a gun after the guy runs past her and darn near kills her own kid. Darn near shoots her own son because it's dark. Her adrenaline's up. And everybody's sleeping in different locations. And
I'd almost defend her on that because that's on him for not croaking out, Mom, as he comes down the hall. you wake up with someone standing at the foot of your bed, you're going to draw and be squeezing that trigger, or at least putting your finger on the trigger before you realize, oh, hi, it's my son who walked into my room without knocking.
My bad.
John used to do that when he was little. He doesn't do that anymore.
I mean, I can kind of give her a slight pass on that.
I can give her a slight one, but what I cannot forgive the main character, or one of the characters, Jennifer, the female protector, the wife, is she does nothing afterwards. There is no kind of tweaking of security. Somebody just broke into her house. Her doors are all locked, but somebody managed to break into her house. Does she do anything to help resecure anything? Does she get everybody sleeping in the same rooms? Anything? No. She changes nothing. That's what got me is, yes, I can excuse one kind of eye-opening moment of going, that was a close call. We better be more careful now. There's some crazy people around here breaking into homes.
Bye, Ozarks.
Are you leaving? Or is Bobo leaving? Which one's leaving? Okay. But I wanted to get, tell me in the comments. You have somebody break into your home. In an SHTF series, things are bad. This is full-blown world without rule of law. You have no way calling the cops, no nothing. Somebody breaks into your house. And you change nothing about your security? How does that make sense? This is definitely a do not in my book. That really kind of made me scream at my book. Scream at a fictional character and just want to go over there and shake them. Could be.
Well, I'm going to tell you, that happened here. I would be putting cross beams across all the windows so no one could open them and get in. I would be putting wood so the shutters wouldn't open, from the outside.
What do you do except change it? Like I said, securing the windows.
She didn't even change sleeping shifts.
Yeah, they kept sleeping in different parts of the house. Everything, nothing changed. And it would make me reevaluate how they broke in. She didn't even try to figure out how they broke in and fix the issue. Exactly. If you
the open door that was unlocked from the outside didn't give her a clue.
Yeah. And like I said, there was no change whatsoever to any part of her security system after that issue. Somebody had to call in nature. That's why he ran away so fastly. so fast. Now it's my channel. Welcome to the Kim's Preps. Okay. Rottweiler, a dog.
I can turn off the internet.
Don't turn off the internet. People are having fun. Hi, people. You're having fun, right? I told my husband we need to have plywood for every window. Cut it now. Thank you. Yes, Pennsylvania. Absolutely. That is a great idea, is having some way to bar access. Putting even a chair underneath the door. Anything to help prevent. So, hey, Steve, you got a question from Ozarks Prepared. You are what I consider a communications guru. What communication means would you consider taking on the trip by plane?
With all due respect, I have not flown in quite some time. When we got together, I kind of put the job I was doing aside for my family. I would probably do some checking and see if
Guru, I know, right, Baba?
Handheld radios, if they were disabled, would be legal, and I'd probably try to take a portable ham if that's still legal. Baba says ham and phone.
Yeah. Do y'all have the repeaters for that area? Do you have a way to look up the repeaters ahead of time? No, for them.
Okay, guys. repeater book will give you those numbers. Barring EMP, let's go financial collapse. If you've still got your cell phone, there is an app called RDF Finder, and it will have localized based on your location all the repeaters and the frequencies. You also have ARRL, the American Radio Relay League, puts out a book of repeaters. They with all the PL codes and everything in them. So you can take, I will be in this state, I will be in this state, I will be in this state, I will be flying over these states, and pick the most, relevant. Now here's the problem with being a technician level. You're limited to 2 meter 440, and your Baofangs and whatnot are 2 meter and 440. That's a line of sight. That's like a super powered CB. So if I program in all the towers for Vegas, I'm good for probably 30 to 60 miles outside of Vegas, but nothing in between. And if I haven't planned on that, I'm kind of out of luck. So you've got those kinds of issues.
I'm a big second amendment. They have guns. There's no way in the world without law someone ain't gonna get shot. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, she has a gun in the house, and she doesn't have it like on her all the times. It's like tucked underneath her pillow in her bedroom, right?
Yeah, or it's on the nightstand.
Yeah, it's just kind of
Pennsylvania Prepper. Yeah, the big book is called I believe it's ARRL Repeater Book. There is an app called Repeater Book. There is RD Finder or RDF Finder. My cell phone's off. I'll put it in the comment section after this, goes over to YouTube, and imprints and stays and all that neat stuff. What else?
that hammy stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the other.
Well, let's go back to what on Kyle's journey. What did advice for the prepper? There are preppers in the book, and I kind of yell at them too. And so, and I swear I'm not just sit back and playing Monday morning quarterback.
Hey
Trying
guys,
not to.
Quick question for the peanut gallery.
Okay.
You are prepared.
Mm-hmm.
You have your stuff wired.
You have a solar system.
You have your solar system. You have your battery bank. You're all set up. When the sun goes down, what do you do with your solar system?
What do you do about all the lights?
I'm waiting on a comment before we get into this.
Come on, somebody answer. You have a solar system. You got working lights. It's an EMP. Not you.
Put your hand up.
Not anybody out there. What should you do?
Particularly if you can see a highway or a road from your house.
I don't care if you can see one or not.
I'm making it relevant to the book.
Okay. Anybody want?
You mean batteries? Shut them off to blend in. Thank you, Radically Prepared.
Yes, you win a cookie. No, I don't have any cookies though.
We can donate.
Black out your windows.
Thank you.
Y'all are getting it. In the book, you have a group of preppers on a freaking hill having a party, pretty much.
And you have dude who's been walking for over a month now who sees lights on the hill at night.
And like a moth drawn to a flame, where does he go? Straight to their front door.
And they want to shoot him because he
showing up.
came to their place.
Do you blame the guy? His first thought is the electricity's back on. So I can't really blame him. He thought
everything was back to normal. Lights are on.
I can talk to them. I can try to get a hold of my wife. I can get home a lot faster. He went to Hopeful. All he saw was lights. He's been traveling for a month in pitch black darkness, and he sees lights. These preppers have No blackout curtains, no nothing to try to shield the lights. I don't care if you're using just a single watt, just a little small. You can see somebody lighting up a cigarette from a mile away in pitch black.
And I'll go one further. So he stumbles up the hill, stumbles through the tree line, stumbles across their yard, and
prepared folks
knocks on their door. And then they send the guards out to flank him.
How they get that close? But if everything's gone to crap, wouldn't you want to take precautions before walking up to someone that's probably a little bit of, yeah. That's gripping at the guy. But like I said, he's not preparedness minded. He's not really, he's just Joe Schmo. The hotel turned on lights, 100 showed up at the gates. Yeah. Fear the Walking Dead. Yeah, that's what that is. Fear the Walking FTWDs. That's Fear the Walking Dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I make sure. I don't watch a lot of TV.
I followed Walking Dead for probably 6-7 seasons. I think the last one I could really watch was when they were still in the prison, or right when they lost the prison. I burned out.
Yeah, the guy was trying to do the right thing. He was thinking things are getting back to normal. And so he tried to do the right thing with going up there and knocking. I'm more worried about the preppers not having anybody. You got lights blazing. Heck, they're in there just having a good old time. And this guy managed to make it all the way to their front door. So I'm more grabbing at the preppers than I am the poor good Joe Schmo that doesn't know any better. He's not a preparedness-minded person. He's thinking things are back to normal. There's people, there's lights, there's electricity, and so hello to the house. Exactly. Like old school style to say back. I love reading historical fiction as well is, if you're coming up on a home, if you're coming up on a cabin or something in, say 18th century and stuff like that, even into the 19th century, you don't just run up to somebody's house and just knock on their door. It was a greeting like hello to the house, having some way for them to see you. You're not a threat. They can, they can assess you. They can tell you to shove off or come on up, but you don't just run up and knock on somebody's door. I'm not sure if I would even call them preppers. The only thing is they had plenty of food. They were well prepared. They had a complete solar system.
And they didn't like the government.
Yeah, and so they were more off-gridders, I would more put it to, than maybe preppers.
Dad was probably a deserter from the militia.
Most are smarter than that. I would hope so. Like I said, and that's why I wanted to call this more of a cautionary tale book, is picking out things that the people in the book did that I would scream, please don't do that, as a more of a warning tale. And so if that was the author's intent, then yeah, he did a great job of showing things are going to get bad. You shouldn't really do this, but there's really no consequences in the book.
No, there really isn't. I mean,
he gets away with a lot of stuff. I mean, the off-gridders pretty much just let him go on about his way.
No,
I mean,
the boys want to take him out. The wife goes, I think you're a good man and you're kind of cute. So I'm going to cut your ties and you need to get out of
Ozark's
here.
Prepared's daughter says hi. She's a fan.
Hi, sweetheart.
What's her name? We'll give her a shout out. I'm waiting because I'm gonna say hi to her. I want to say hi to her.
Raylan.
Hi, Raylan. I'm so glad you're a fan. Hope I said that right. Hi.
Hey, Sonia.
But yeah, to say it's more of a cautionary tale. I would definitely put it towards that.
Yeah.
But the only reason why I don't know if that was the author's intent is because there's no real consequences to doing something idiotically stupid in this book.
I mean, the biggest consequences that he faced was the hot prepper chick. Well, yeah, those two.
She really wasn't a prepper. She was more of a rancher.
For the hot rancher chick. he makes mistakes.
Major mistake.
I mean, he gets wet, so he changes into his dry
awesome.
clothes.
I'm glad I got it right.
And then he wraps himself in his sleeping bag. And then he hikes through the rain, getting his sleeping bag and his new fresh dry clothes wet and getting hypothermic, and then falling in the creek and passing out in this lady's front yard. And he's sick for a couple of days while she nurses him back to health. And yeah,
it's this. There's no real consequences to. And I'm don't get me wrong. As much as I love killing off main characters, I'm a George R.R. Martin fan, so I have no problem killing off main characters.
Only if they deserve it.
He should have died like 6 or 7 times by now, and I'm like yelling. I mean, because okay.
Look, guys, I'm not Mr. Tactical.
No,
I am not super prepper. I'm pretty sure I could get into some situations where I would die on this trip. However, I guarantee you that it won't be due to hypothermia because I walked in sleet and rain in my dry clothes.
You changed out of your wet clothes into your dry clothes to walk through the rain.
I would never do that.
And then you put on your nice dry sleeping bag to go on top of the wet clothes.
No, I wouldn't do that. I mean, well, I will say this. My sleeping system is a military 3-level bivvy shelter.
Oh, he probably said man characters.
main characters.
The main characters.
You know,
Kyle and Jennifer.
My bivvy shelter I might use as a raincoat because it is made to be rain and whatnot resistant.
Yeah.
But the deal is, I would wait until I
he
had
was a little stupid. Yes.
a place
yes,
to stay, and then put on dry clothes and sleep in my dry clothes. And I'd wear my wet clothes again if I have to go back out in the wet.
Yeah.
You know, keep those dry for reheating.
Didn't and I'm going to plug him, and I don't mean to, just because it's the first thing that pops in my head. Pastor Joe Fox.
Yeah, he had a similar experience, and maybe that's where. No, I didn't learn. I knew this beforehand, but when PJ was in Special Forces school, they took him out.
He probably should have died. Yes, Brian.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. They took PJ out, and they had he had 2 sets of clothing, and it was a maps and compass navigational course, and it was raining, and
raining and raining.
Go out. 5 minutes later, you're soaking wet. Do your course, come back. And a lot of guys looked and changed into their fresh, dry BDUs. PJ looked at it and said, I'll wear those to bed. And he did his days wet, cold, and miserable, and slept all night long. There was none of this shivering in the middle of the night business and lying there awake.
And he had dry BDUs every day.
Yeah.
Every evening. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to go out in the wet, then you have to say, keep your wet clothes on, find shelter, get everything settled in. Once you are in a nice dry location, shut those wet clothes, get on something dry. I mean, even if you have to be naked, just wrapped up in your sleeping bag that is hopefully dry because you didn't use it as a rain jacket. Yep, fun night. Love Pastor Joe. I know, right? He's got a lot of great ideas.
Let me throw out another positive for this book, though.
Mm-hmm.
While he is trekking, he comes across various semis, 18-wheelers that are knocked out. And he starts checking the loads, particularly wrong brand, but Pegler Cisco trucks.
Food trucks.
And he picks up canned goods and whatnot to sustain his journey that way. And I'm 110% behind that. That is definitely a smart move that the author included.
The only thing I would go a little bit further is be checking cabs and things like that for different kinds of supplies. Food, yes, is a necessity. He's able to get water most of the time, but he does get sick from drinking. That's why I think it really was a cautionary tale, because he gets sick from drinking from some drinking water that he finds. So he's sick for a couple of days, and it's when his cart is stolen. But I would be scavenging something, scavenging anything that I can find that could help.
Tire thumpers from the big rigs.
I mean, just anything that you could use. I mean, what would y'all try to find in vehicles? I mean, if you're talking EMP, cars are just abandoned on the roads, and they're just miles and miles of abandoned cars on the side of the road. What are some things that are common in cars that would help you out? I mean,
Hey, David.
Hi.
You know,
yes, looking for food and things like that, I think, is a good idea.
tire irons.
I mean, he's got a sled, so he doesn't have to haul all this on his person. He's got a little cart thing that he's pulling behind him.
Cordage, absolutely.
Extra clothes. If he's only got one pair of clothes, I mean, trying to find jackets or something that was left in.
He did scavenge jackets.
After he was already cold and wet, he managed to find one jacket. But just trying to look through, somebody's got a lighter in their car, having an extra lighter. Come on, guys.
Cut up the seats.
First aid kits. At least truck drivers, most of them have a first aid kit. And so John Shake, his granddad, my dad, and his other granddad are both truck drivers. And so, yeah, you have to have most of them have a first aid kit in their car. Maps of the areas. Now, paper
for fire starting.
Yeah, fire starting, because I don't think he starts a fire throughout the entire book.
Road flares for fire starting.
Road signal flares, even. Just something. But see if you can find any simple over-the-counter medications.
By the way,
just headache medicine, just having simple.
If you guys come across my Jeep during an EMP and something's bad has happened, if you'll check either on the dashboard cubby or in the center console, you'll find Dramamine for the puppy.
Trooper, sir, prepper, used my logbook to start a fire.
Can I borrow your ticket book to start a fire?
Cloth seats for warmth. Hey, that is a great idea. Cloth seats. Yeah, because even a lot of people have the ones that just go over, like the seat covers.
Even what I was telling you, when he breaks the car window to go in to make a shelter.
Law enforcement vehicles probably have weapons, possibly, if you can find a pulled over state trooper or something. What's that, Bubba?
And also, you can check the cars to start. Most other cars can start different from the EMP. Some cars can go out, but some can stay up, like older cars.
Well, most of the older cars are probably people are going to drive off in those.
True.
Yeah. It's a good thought, though. If you don't watch it, you're going to be pulled over here.
And even if the shotgun and the rifle are missing from the center of from the cab of the law enforcement vehicle, try popping the trunk.
A flashlight. And here's the thought. Okay. If we're talking an EMP scenario and you've just got tons of cars everywhere, don't tell me where your bug out location is. Don't tell me where you're going. Once you get there, do you send out scavenging parties to possibly scavenge materials from vehicles, like the food truck? Even scavenging gasoline, siphoning gasoline from cars that are broke down. Have y'all planned on possibly having parties that would... My car, Bob, really, a get home bag has a lock cutter.
For getting through fences, etc. at home. Southern California. Yeah.
Definitely. I have a lock pick, but that's just me.
I'll blow
not for nefarious purposes at all.
I'll blow my OPSEC. If something happens to me and you get to my vehicle and I haven't had the chance to unload or leave my vehicle with my gear, you're going to find a Marine Corps LBE, the large bag with that's what I call my inch bag. That has 20 days. Hey, NWA prepper, good to see you. That's got,
so glad you could make
20 days worth of food. It's one heavy dog. I don't like, the idea of carrying it. In addition to that, I've got my 3-day assault pack. And in addition to that, I've got my sleeping system that I was talking about.
He's good at that. He needs to teach me. I know, right? I'm just now starting to get into lock picking. I'm trying to watch tutorials and things like that. And I know. Everybody say hi to NWA. Everybody say hello to NWA.
Hi, NWA. Hey, brother. How you doing, man?
It is, to me, is a good skill because you're less likely to, like, you need to damage something. You can just quietly
in and out.
Get into things. And you may be able to reuse the lock or just kind of be quiet about it. But Pennsylvania Prepper answered our question. Sorry, I'm bad at that. I wouldn't send anyone out unless it was to find missing people. So you wouldn't send out any like scavenging parties to scavenge for any more materials? What? I used to axe the lockpick.
NWA Prepper just gave the firefighters answer.
I know, right? I'm being sneaky. All right, ninja skills, man. Okay.
Let's continue the conversation about different things, but let's give a final wrap up and review on the book first.
Well, I wanted to get other opinions of people. Travis, I'm a she. Thank you. I'm terrible at remembering that sort of stuff, so I'm pretty sure you said me earlier, but
scavenger hunts for resupply. Always, if I were to get into a gunfight, the loser would donate his gun and his equipment to me. Nice.
Absolutely. Honestly, I think it's not a bad idea to have scavenging parties. People watch each other's backs, that are very kind of stealthy, knows what they're doing. If you've got anybody who are former military that are good at stealth and being able to move quietly. Sparrow picks, if you like, Google it. Okay, definitely. Sup, buttercup. No scavenging. We should have what we need. I understand. Like I said, I know that everybody's different about this idea. I think it would depend on the scenario for me for scavenge burning. I like the idea. I don't like the idea. I don't know.
Okay, we're about to turn this into a prep talk. Philosophically, there is a difference between raiding and scavenging.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with stripping a abandoned house. I have no problem with raiding the pantry of an abandoned house. I have a big problem with, taking from someone else.
Yeah, that wouldn't be, no. Scavenging party is not going to be the same.
Yeah. Now, having said that, our cabin, our bug out location, is several miles from what Arkansas considers a state highway. That would be a 2-lane road they paved maybe 5 to 7 years ago. Actually, probably 12.
It was paved when I got there.
So it's over 10. City folk would call it an alley. But occasionally you get, cars going down there, and let's say one gets stalled out there. I would have no problem with taking its fuel. Siphoning out the gas, put it up on jacks and take the tires. Those things are still usable.
Burn them.
When my scavenging party meets another, it could become a war. I would only be doing that if I absolutely needed to. And that may be for your area. Now, for my area,
it's so isolated.
Sending out my scavenging party, how should I put this? In my area, because you married into it.
Not my area.
10 miles away in a circumference is a next door neighbor. So we're all probably working together and scavenging what's been left on the road.
Yeah. And honestly, that's why I kind of brought up the idea of having somebody who is used to moving quietly, moving stealthily. And if you see another party scavenging, wait for them to go away. Don't get into confrontations with other people over scavenge materials.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything worth losing a team member over. Definitely not. So to me, scavenging parties, resupply parties, whatever you want to call them, of just going into, like I said, abandoned vehicles and working maybe in a grid pattern, working out from your bug out location, and having people who can be stealthy, who can be, what are you smiling at?
Hold on, we just gotta.
You said your phone was off earlier.
I'm gonna need help, asks Bear. What do I do if I'm unprepared and I've come across one of your preppers and tried to take his stuff? Die.
First scavenger would be if somebody else storms with the
with the lights on. Nice.
No, somebody else stormed them.
Just for the record, YouTube, everything said on here was for humor and
entertainment purposes only.
But
it is an idea though. I've read in other books where they've sent out people early on in the disaster to scavenge from stores. In other words, loot, right? And they're actually confronted at one of them by the owner, who's like, "No, you're not getting in here." And so,
well, what about the moral dilemma in Forstchen's 1 second after? His daughter needs insulin. He goes to the pharmacy. He knows it's there.
No. Wrong book club, because that's totally gonna need to be the next one. Because I need to pick me up after this book. So we'll discuss that one later. Body bag. I know, right?
Hashtag body bag. All right. So our next book is going to be EMP, Equipping Modern Patriots, and then we might do 1 second after and then jump back to something else. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, because we've already picked our next book. We'll give a sum up of this one. Sorry, I keep shaking the table. It really hurts. Our next one is going to be EMP, Equipping Modern Patriots.
By Jonathan Hollerman.
Who we love. We love to never harm others. And the only way I would harm others is to try to bring the harm to me first. Absolutely. I'm a live and let live type of person. I am not a person that's going to go out and raid. That's why I'm saying I would want scavenging parties who are very stealthy, who will purposely avoid other people as much as possible. I don't believe in getting into unnecessary conflicts, especially when every person on your team matters.
No.
What?
No. Seriously, I'm sorry, I'm joking. Guys, I make statements often about, hashtag body bag and, go out and do what you need to do. If you shoot at me, I believe in self-defense. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in the ways that this country was formed. But if violence can be avoided in any situation, follow peace with all men. Always look at the problem. What is it that it's an old samurai truism. The man who has to fight has already lost. Whether or not he wins the battle, in having to draw his sword, he's lost.
At the time
it changes based on the cause. This is true.
At the time we had to scavenge, most supplies would be unattended by the unprepared.
This is true. And there are so many things, that a lot of people don't even think about.
I mean, think about things that you might scavenge. Okay. Here, say something.
Tampons and pads.
Yeah. It wouldn't even have to be food related. Say something breaks down on your chainsaw. You need a replacement part.
So post the book so we can get it too. Baba, which book?
The next one we're going to read, I think, EMP. Oh, post the book. It's 77 Days in September is the one we're reviewing today. Baba.
So we can get it too. The next one will be EMP.
Yeah, okay. Equipping Modern Patriots. Get a Diva cup. I have one of those. Nobody wants to know that, but I had a whole video on feminine hygiene products for bug out bags and for post-event. Just because people don't talk about that sort of stuff, and I wanted to. There you go. That's the new book. That's the next book.
I'm going to tell you right now, there are two companies that I would pay to come in and help me assess my bug out location. One is Prosperetti, and one is can't remember the name that Jonathan Hollerman's company is.
Yes, Badger. We get our books from Audible. We, like I said, we listen to audiobooks, so we get onto Audible. If y'all get a chance to try out Audible, most of the time your first book can be free. With us almost, and there's tons of promo codes out there, but honestly, you sign up for it and your first book's free. We pay $22 a month,
something like that,
for what they do credits. You get 2 credits each month for $22 a month, and so he gets one and I get one, and so that's pretty much 2 books that you get a month. Most books are about $22 by themselves for the audiobook without being a membership. So to me, it's worth it. It's worth the price. And like I said, if you don't use your credits from that month, most of them roll over for quite a few months.
Another source for books that I do, I'll order on Amazon because, a lot of places don't have the books we're into. Now, we are lucky. Our local computer geek and his wife, actually, Mitch, I didn't call you a geek, and please tell me you're not watching.
He's a geek and he loves it. Don't worry about it.
But he and his wife also own the local used bookstore, and they'll either be able to get me something through their used contacts, or they've got it.
They have we have a pretty good sized bookstore here.
Occasionally I'll hit the local library, or what I really like are library auctions.
Oh, John's leaving. Good night.
Bye, John. Sleep well.
We've probably gone on for quite a long time. We'll probably wrap this up.
We're into the 90-minute category.
Oh,
we've been here now.
We're having fun with our friends.
But
we're up to 18 people now, so I'm cool with saying. So.
How to Survive the End of the World as We Know It by James Wesley Rawls. My first hardback copy of that book I ever got was a library book that they had decided to get rid of, and I got it for $1. My second copy, Adam from the Arkansas Preparedness Network gave to me.
There are Kindle editions, I do believe, for these books that are a little bit cheaper if you don't mind sitting there and actually reading them.
I have quite a few Kindles.
And it's on Amazon. It's everywhere, depending on how you like to listen to them. Everyone give him a thumbs up too. Aw, NWA. Love ya. Makes for a good Cards Against
Humanity game. Just for the record, I got the finances deck, or the financial collapse deck. It's coming. Sheepdog, have a good evening as well.
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's wrap up with our overall thoughts of 77 Days in September. Would you give it 5 out of 5? Let's say 5 EMP blast.
I'll give it 2. I didn't hate it. I'm going to give it was okay.
Okay.
Well written, good spelling, good grammar, technically sound book. Well researched in the area of what is an EMP and what an EMP can do.
I have that book in my nightstand. Okay, awesome.
As to,
if you want to get ideas of what not to do,
I'm hoping it was a cautionary tale, because otherwise, I mean, maybe put in a forward next time, Mr. Gorham, that this is a cautionary tale. True preppers don't scream. So I'm going to give it. It was okay. I learned from it. I enjoyed it, but I twitched.
Yeah, the more that I learned from it was just that may or may not be a hole in my own if you read over it and say that may be a hole in my own preparedness levels.
You finish. I'm going to respond.
299 days. We have read that. 290 days. We may be doing a review on that one here soon because I want to go back and reread it because it's probably been a couple years since I read it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just. You know what? This is not a review of 299 days. I loved the first 3 or 4.
Give it 2 stars.
And then
it kind of went weird.
There were a couple of the special missions ones that I loved, and the generals I loved, but it seemed to toward the end go on and on and on.
He could have wrapped it up in a couple less books.
Now the preparation, the very first book, I adored.
Sorry, my cat's bumping the table.
The autistic cat has come back inside and is walking back and forth across.
Come here, cuz. He loves me. This is cuz. Cuz hates being touched, and he's freaking out right now. No.
Yeah. So, anyway.
But yeah, we could do a review on 299. But as for 77 days in September, I would probably, like I said, put this at about 2.5 stars. If it is a cautionary tale, then 2.5. So.
I'd even go further. I give it the full 5 stars. 5 nuke blasts, whatever you want to call it.
They said we use stars.
It were a cautionary tale.
I would love to sit down with the author and ask, but
I'm kind of expecting an email from the author at some point. I'm on Goodreads under my actual name.
Yeah, we're both on Goodreads. So if anybody does anybody get on Goodreads?
I ripped it up one side and down the other, and I think I only gave it 1 or 2 stars.
Yeah.
So and from time to time, I've received emails from authors going, what's the problem? I had one where the guy, I just ripped it up. I said he needed a new editor, and I get this nice email going, sir, my books are edited. What seems to be the problem? And I started going through, okay, page 72, you misspelled this. Page 73, this is not the right piece of equipment that you're talking about. You're actually talking about this. By the time I was done, he made changes to the book. David, good to see you.
All right, guys. If y'all get a chance.
Does anyone want us to just hang out and talk? Because I'll send her to bed and I'll hang out.
Love you too. Did anybody watch our video today? It's all about fat.
And not the belly kind.
I don't know. What I was saying in the beginning of it, I don't know if everybody caught it because nobody commented on it. I said in the beginning of the video that I had that Weird Al Yankovic song stuck in my head. Because I'm fat. I'm fat.
I got to tell you guys, sometimes you can tell the comments of the people who haven't watched the video by what they write.
Yeah, it's an awesome one. Oh, he's talking about 299. Okay. But all right. 77 days in September. I'm hoping our next book, like I said, EMP, Equipping Modern Patriots. Hoping folks would be surprised how much value information can be found.
Absolutely. Tommy, I actually have the Cub Scouts manual next to my bed.
Don't go. You made a video about me. It was dietary fat, man. Why does everybody think we're talking about fat people all the time? We're not talking about Steve.
NWA, I love you, man. You have no idea how much.
It's on my watch later. Good, good.
Hold on.
Talking out and meeting. They're calling for Trump. Oh, I was reading.
Sorry, during any bad event, my family will be on lockdown while everyone else is doing. Put that foot away from my table. I'll come and sweep up the pieces and get what I need after respawn. Absolutely.
He's walking out of meetings. They're calling for Trump. As much as I would. That's always a risk with political. Honestly, Civil war has something we have discussed as a possible scenario. With political tensions the way they are, I would be more worried about somebody like Beto with his "we'll come door to door and take your guns" setting off civil unrest and if not full-blown civil war.
By the way, in about 4 weeks, I'm going on a canoeing trip. I'm taking all of our guns with us.
No, they've already been lost in a terrible, terrible boating accident. But yeah, if I say civil war and things like that does bother me because of how divided things are right now. It's hard to say. It's hard to say if that would ever come to that again in the United States. I don't know.
Those of you who research conspiracy theories and whatnot, I got a question for you. Ran across a video the other day where the guy was saying that after the World Trade Center, 2 semi-truck loads full of gold were apparently, they couldn't get them out of the Trade Center before they blew, and then that all disappeared. Anyone ever hear that, or is this just this one
I've
source?
never heard that.
You know, I really got to stay off the UFO forums.
Unleash the beta. I mean the Beto.
Yeah, Beto males. You know, why don't we start a new expression? Beto male.
He might get through 2 neighborhoods in Arkansas. Amen. Amen.
Yeah, I mean, and stop and think about it for a second.
Say thank you. I've never heard of that before either.
Thank you.
Yeah, no.
But you hear, we're gonna send them for your guns.
Oh, Sonia heard of it.
No, okay. So there's one person. See, I had never heard about that until just the other day. Anyway, you have your sheriffs getting on the radio, your local radio station, and saying, "We won't do confiscations. Don't worry about it."
I actually have a really good friend of mine who is a sheriff in a local county here. Not this county. It's a different county in Arkansas. And I've known him for years. Great guy. And he said, I will never, ever participate in any kind of confiscation. And never. He says, we will not allow people to do that in our county. And so I vote in sheriffs like that. I mean, you really have control over what sheriffs you vote into your county. If nothing else, you can't control what's happening in the White House. You can't control what's happening up there in the Senate. People hundreds of miles, thousands of miles away from you, however far, wherever you live. Figure out what's going on in your county, because one of the top people in your county is going to be your sheriff. He is your top official in your county. Well,
more than that, I mean, if you look at it truly constitutionally, by the true legal definitions.
Left the butter video. I know, right?
The President of the United States and his Secret Service detail can come into your county. Your sheriff can walk out and decommission his Secret Service detail and arrest him. I mean, because he is a constitutionally elected official, his power supersedes all law enforcement in the area, and renders, the president's bodyguard, null and void in theory. Now, would that really in practice? No. But a few years back we had you've all read about it, I'm sure, but a organic dairy farm was not pasteurizing their milk or something, and the FDA decided to take them down. Well, the sheriff drives out, parks his truck in front, and his deputies, and he says, "Guys, you're not coming on this property."
That's interesting, Ozark.
I have a couple of our local cops in my group. The information they have to train on door-to-door confiscation.
I believe it. I mean, I believe that they want to do it. I don't see very many police officers, sheriff's departments actually participating in it. We've got police officers that are part of, maybe not our mag, but mags that we're affiliated with. Like I said, I do have friends who are a lot of police officer friends, some that I've known for years. I got a degree one time way back when in criminal justice. And so I made a lot of friends with police officers and people who went on to become police officers. So they may be wanting them to train for it, but you get a really good sheriff and keep him in office.
Yeah.
And make sure he's training up deputies that think the way he does, constitutionally minded sheriffs. I think that would actually negate a lot of the stuff and the crap that's trying to come out of Washington.
Let's, stop and think about this though. We are law-abiding citizens. We believe in our country.
Absolutely, NWA. It really depends on the mindset of the person. Absolutely. Some will just go along with whatever they're told. But I think many of them are they kind of know what's what.
Besides, like Beto says, he believes in Americans, following the law. And, if the law were to turn in our guns, I think I would.
There's something about civil disobedience when it comes to unjust laws. I'm just saying there's something somebody wrote one time about it.
Somebody sometime in 1770 something.
1770 something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I was actually trying to keep this on the straight and narrow since this is,
No, I wasn't saying. I'm just saying.
Are we pulling this down from YouTube afterwards?
No, it's a book review. They don't know nothing. They know nothing. They ain't watching this. Do you think it would be a good idea to bury guns with ammo?
Texan, if you're thinking about burying the guns and ammo, it's time to dig them up.
No, I actually disagree on this one. I don't mind backup weapons, mainly as caches. Hear me out on this one. This is more of a sense of.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. Thanks, Radically Prepared. We'll see you too later.
Thanks, guys. When it comes to burying weapons, it's more of a sense of fallback positions, of having things already cached. They're coming to take me
away. They're coming to take me away.
But
crazy. I was crazy once. They locked me in a room with a whole bunch of snakes. It drove me crazy.
You haven't
crazy?
done that already?
I was crazy once. They locked me in a room with a whole bunch of snakes. It drove me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked.
But having cached weapons, I do not think is a bad thing. Having weapons that are stored, we have places that are fallback positions. Talking about burying guns. I don't think it is a bad idea to have guns and ammo strategically placed, not just burying them in the backyard, but strategically placed in order to have them in a fallback position. Say you're driven out of your bug out location. Say, whatever it may be. I'm not going to get into an
Hey,
I'm not going to get into a gunfight with somebody. I'm pound it. God, the cockroaches that ate. Okay, is that a book?
It's a song. It's awesome.
Okay.
Dr. Demento.
Okay.
Dr. Demento rocks.
Dr. Demento is the best. So I'm not completely ruling out the idea of burying guns. I don't think it would be. He's acting drunk.
I was told to refill the whiskey cup.
Ozarks
told me to.
Oh, that's who told you to?
Refill his whiskey cup.
John.
Whiskey.
Go get my Basil Hayden's.
We're actually doing this?
Sure, why not? We take a shot.
So this is about to get demonetized.
Why?
Wait,
Blah, blah, blah.
The bourbon?
My Basil Hayden's, the one that's already open. There's a shot glass in the window.
Fish heads. we were wrapping this up, and then we've suddenly gotten all political and
Oh,
whatnot.
I don't mind. Like I said, if you've got questions, you're up to 1 minute.
I'm going to say this. We do have food stashed offsite. We do have a cache system of food. We are working on building a cache system of food and whatnot between here and our BOL.
Along our bug out route, yeah.
I mentioned earlier my inch bag with 20 days of food.
I got bourbon downstairs.
I
went to You don't get to open it. Give it here.
Oh, that's right.
I went to the Jim Beam distillery. Got my shot glass for it.
So the 20 days of food and whatnot in the inch bag, like I was talking about.
You're looking at alcoholic.
Yeah, demonetized.
It's not going to be demonetized over drinking. No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, it's not friendly to,
We're not putting it in the tags.
All right.
They don't see nothing. Y'all don't tell YouTube nothing.
Remember, snitches get stitches.
Snitches get stitches.
Dr. Fish Sticks, welcome. Mark Chase, good to see you. Yeah, that was a dad exhale. Yes, because I really didn't think we were going this route with this one today.
Hey, y'all vote. Who wants to make Steve take a shot?
Hey, Scout, good to see you.
Scout.
One vote.
Oh,
because you can't have any.
Just a little shot. See?
YouTube, I'd like to discuss with you the fact that abstinence and temperance is a good thing, and on this channel we do, at least one of us
I'm gonna need a drink.
does not advocate the use of alcohol, especially on live streams. I remember, sir.
Just do a little bit. It really is okay. Steve's taking shots.
Of water.
You ready? Don't make him. No, it's nothing in his jug.
Just water.
Saw you guys live stream, so I thought I would say hello. Man, it's good to see you.
Yeah, we switched over to taking shots at this point.
One.
Ooh. That stuff is stout. Ooh, I need a chaser with that one. I can't read.
Captain Bart.
I was distracting YouTube. It's okay. I was distracting YouTube.
Yes, YouTube. We would never advocate the use of alcohol on a live stream or on a video. That just wouldn't happen. So at least just demonetize
it's all
by
apple
50%.
Juice to me. See?
Yeah, it's all apple juice.
It's all apple juice. It's all good. I think that got stout or something.
I think with all the fun and body bag talk, they will ignore the shot. Hashtag body bag.
All right. Hashtag shots fired.
So, yeah.
This was supposed to be a book review. So what do y'all think? Would y'all be interested in reading it, or do y'all think y'all would turn down reading it? Thumbs up or thumbs down on reading 77 Days in September. Somebody's laughing.
Ozark just laughing so hard he's crying. Good for him. We love you, brother.
Just taking shots of sweet tea. That's how it is.
Hashtag penicillin.
Penicillin.
That
is the quickest way to my heart.
I'm getting really sick and tired of these dad jokes and pun wars. That's getting a little moldy.
That was a terrible one.
I would read it if I wasn't broke. Nice.
Okay, so you would read it. I'm trying to see if anybody was turned away from it or if they think they would actually enjoy a cautionary tale.
Couple more shots, I'd laugh. Am I the only adult in the room?
Yes. All right, guys, we are pushing the 2-hour mark, I think. Holy crud muffins, Batman.
I'll read it next week. Dakota's been kicking my butt with lack of sleep right now and racking and focus. I hear you. I was supposed to be out where you probably were, and I couldn't make it. We had a family emergency last week, and this week I was just dragging. It took all she could do to get me to stand up and walk out the door. By noon today?
Yeah.
Time to
Your aggravation alone drove me away, Miss Kim.
Time to repatron.
Okay. So who just as a recap, we're going to probably finish this up. Next book review is going to be EMP, Equipping Modern Patriots by
Jonathan Hollerman.
So I've read this one before, but I need to reread it because it has been more than a few years since I read it. But I remember that I enjoyed it. So I'm going to go back and reread it and write down some notes of what I really enjoyed it. And I hope y'all get a chance because we're thinking about 2 weeks.
We'll live stream about every 2 weeks. Well, we'll book review about every 2 weeks. Now that I've got the live stream working, guys.
God, there's no stopping them
You're
now.
all mine throughout the day.
But yeah, if we can, if we do that in 2 weeks, Equipping Modern Patriots would be our next book review in 2 weeks. If that's enough time for everybody to read or grab the audiobook, like I said, if you don't have Audible, your first book is free when you sign up. So you can get 1 credit when you sign up for it, and you can go get the book and listen to it.
And be thinking as to what you think we should do. If we should go through a series, like if it's a trilogy at this point, because the EMP, he just dropped a little bit ago.
You just told me the whole story. It wasn't the whole story. I didn't tell you how it ended. Ella Bobo. You just told me the whole story. I didn't tell you the whole thing.
I didn't tell you whether he got home or not.
No.
I didn't tell you what. No. And believe me, we left a lot out.
A lot that I screamed.
But I'll tell you what, Bobo.
The EMP series. That's one EMP Equipping Modern Patriot series.
Yeah.
That's the one we're doing next, Texan.
Which EMP series?
There's so many.
No. He may be thinking of EMP. Are you thinking of the one, Texan? Are you thinking of the one where the lady's name is Harper?
Brian, that's good information.
And it starts out in DC, in book 0. And then they end up at the Brighton, I think, the little town.
Thanks.
The guy named Church is like the mayor. Is that the EMP series you're thinking of, or are you thinking of Equipping Modern Patriots by Jonathan Hollerman? Good evening, Badger.
Yes.
Reading in progress. Rip. Yes.
I like that.
Well, Texan, I'm going to tell you, between you and me, I love this. I love the book review. I'm working on about 20 books on my currently reading list at the moment. And I'm working on the EMP series on Kindle. I'm working on Hollerman on paperback and on Audible. And I've got a few other books. And I quite frankly, I keep one to go into the bathroom with me. And I read in there quite often.
Reading in progress. I do love that, though. That's hilarious.
Welcome to the first ever RIP live stream.
Badger said thanks for the fellowship and good evening all around.
So, I love you, Badger. It's been a good one.
Okay, we're pushing that 2-hour mark. So
all right.
It's my bedtime, guys. I don't know about y'all, but it's totally my bedtime.
Bedtime.
It's not that kind of movie.
It's not that kind of channel.
Well, I hope this was enjoyable for our very first book review. We got kind of rambly, but that's what we kind of wanted to do. We wanted to make sure we interacted with you guys. Not that bad.
Oh,
I'm good with enough.
Okay, you go to bed. Tommy and I are going to interact. How about I start another stream so that we can delete it? We'll make it the R-rated stream, Tommy. Adults only.
Kentucky, home of fast horses, fast cars, fast women, and great. Hey, believe it or not, guess where I was born at? Kentucky, Fort Knox to be exact. I was minted there.
Captain Bart, I'm sorry. Hey, Tank, we're just wrapping it up, but you showed up while the cool kids were still here.
Pennsylvania Prepper, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like, so this was our
You're
first
welcome.
one. We've been talking about doing this for a while, and I'm glad that everybody's enjoyed it so far. Tell your friends, bring them with you, read the books. EMP, Equipping Modern Patriots, are our next one. So give you a couple of weeks to read it and come back and do this again.
So have a good evening. Blessings, everyone.
We're going to shut it down. Hope y'all guys have a great evening.
I'll see you soon.
Love y'all. Thank y'all so much for showing up.
Laters. I